Okay, today we'll be learning how to navigate a piece of sheet music to play a song using chords so that people can sing along with you. So in previous videos, we've shown the words just with the chords written above it. Well, what do you do if you get a piece of sheet music? Usually, they'll also have the chords written above the notes so that you can read along using the chords and you don't have to play all of the notes in both hands exactly as written. You don't need to be able to sight read to still play the song well. But there are parts of the sheet music that we can use, like parts of the melody that we can add into our singing or into our playing that can help the song sound better. So we're going to be playing Ode to Joy, Beethoven's classic. And the first thing we want to do is find out what key is the song in. So when you see there's one sharp sign and it's on the F, so it means all the other notes will be playing the white keys, but the F is sharp. And that means we're in the key of G major. So G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. All right, so that's the first piece of information we get from the sheet music. It's in the key of G major. And you can tell a lot of the chords in here are G. It starts and ends on a G. So you're pretty confident you're in the key of G. And now, if you're playing a song that you want people to sing along with you, you want to be able to play so that they are clued in and they know, oh, this is the song we're playing, and this is where we need to come in. And oftentimes it helps to play the melody, either the first or the last line of the song. In this case, the sheet music gives us some clues. It has brackets on the last line that say, this is what we suggest you play as an introduction. So in this case, let's look at the melody, which is the top note. You don't need to worry about the other notes. Just the top note in that top bar of music. So you start with B. So there's your melody. Now let's look at what other notes can we add using chords and what we know about chords to make this sound a little more full and interesting. So the first chord says it's a G, and in my left hand I can just play the G octave, or I can add that D in there, the fifth, or I can play it as an arpeggio. All right, and then it's going to move to C. So if you want to move from G in your left hand to C, I can keep my thumb in the same spot and then just move from that octave to playing the C in my middle finger. And then it's going to go to A minor, so I can play the A octave in my left hand. And then it goes to G, and then to D. So from G to D is just the G to the D and the A here. Back to G, back to D, and back to G. So your left hand there, you're not really moving too much. And then if you want to add some notes in there with some arpeggios, you can do that. But just to keep it simple, we'll just play those. And then in the melody, I start on B, which is in the G major chord in its second inversion. So you can start right here. So it's... And there you go. You played the intro. Everybody knows, oh, we're playing Ode to Joy. Here we go. Time to sing. So let's get into the beginning of the song, and we'll start playing the chords. So we've already covered the last line. Those are pretty much all the chords we're going to use in the song, except in the third line we'll play a B7 chord and an E minor. But we'll go through the first line here. So the first line starts on G. Joyful, joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, opening to the sun above. So those are the first two lines. You see the second is the exact same as the intro we just played. So you're going from G, and And then it has this G sus chord. So what does sus4 mean? It means a suspended fourth. So in a normal chord, you have a first, a third, and a fifth. So that fourth is that C that's in the middle here. There's your G sus4. And in the song, you can see it because they have that C in the melody right there. So you can play that sus4 chord, and then it usually goes right back to the G chord because that C likes to resolve down to the B. So it's like. So when anytime you see that sus4 chord, it just means you're playing that fourth instead of the third. And that fourth is often going to resolve right to the third in the next note or the next chord you play. You don't have to play the sus4 chord. So it says that up there. Sometimes it gets a little messy with all the chords. You can, if it's in the middle of the measure, you can skip it and just stay on the G. So if you just wanted to stay on the G and keep this super simple, joyful, joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, opening to the sun above. And note there at that last measure, it's a D7 to G. So a D7, remember, is your D chord, your D major. And then the seventh, you just go to that D right above it and drop down one to the C. So that's the seventh of the D major chord. And you can play it on top, or in this case, you could play it here on the bottom with the thumb. So I got the D in my left hand. I got the C right there in the middle. Sun above. Okay, so that's how you can do it simply. And then if you wanted to add some more notes in there, you can do some arpeggios. So. Okay, made a little mistake in there, but nobody saw that, right? Okay, so that's how you can play the chords to start off very simply, and then you can add the melody as you go along. You can add other notes in the chords or arpeggios to make it sound nicer, but your building blocks are just staying on these chords. And I'm going from the G to the D, just moving up from the octave to the fifth. The next line here, we're going to go to the third line. Starts off with the D. Melt the clouds of the sin and sadness. So that's pretty easy. It's just D, G, D, G. So melt the clouds of the sin and sadness. If you wanted to add a little bit, you could melt the clouds of sin and sadness. And now in these next two measures here, we add a couple new chords. So it's going to go D to B7. Drive the dark of doubt away. So it's D to B7. So the B7 chord, remember, you go B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. There's your B chord. And then your 7 would be coming up to the next B and dropping it 1 and playing that A. So I just play the B and the A in the left hand, and I play the B chord up here in my right hand, and I got my B7. Drive the dark of doubt. So your E minor. So I just play the E and the fifth in my left hand, and then the E and the G in my right hand. Away. And then just a tip when you're playing, you see, okay, there's 3 chords in this measure. I'm changing a lot, right? It's going E minor, A, D. You could do that. But if that's too much, you can skip that A. And as you're singing, you don't notice too much. You just drive the dark of doubt away. Right, so you can play that A in there, or you can skip that and just go from the E minor to the D. Dark away, giver of immortal gladness, fill us with the light of day. Okay, and the last line, we already practiced that. That's the intro. So let's do it one more time all the way through. We'll play Joyful, Joyful, We Adore Thee, Ode to Joy. So start with the intro. Joyful, joyful, we adore thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee, opening to the sun above. Melt the clouds of sin and sadness, drive the dark of doubt away. Giver of immortal gladness, fill us with the light of day. All right, thank you very much. Have a good day.